It is Dynasty rookie review time. Today we're looking at tight ends in this video. The rookie tight ends, just kind of going over what they did, what we expect from them from the year 2025 and beyond. And we're going in the order they were drafted, at least for the first couple of guys. Brock Bowers was awesome. He was, I think, it was just crazy what he did. He was the tight end 2 in total points. And again, this is week 18 stats. Through week 17. Week 18 is not included. So it could have changed there, but he was tight end 2 overall. Tight end 2 in points per game. First half, tight end 2. Second half, tight end 2. Like super consistent. The guy had 108 catches, almost broke. I think he ended up with like 114 or something, almost broke like the single season tight end record, not for rookies, just ever, which is crazy. He had 1,144 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, not much to talk about here. He is, people will have him as the number 2 rookie in this draft class. So they're literally saying, we go back and draft, and this is super flex. We go back and redraft, it's Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. I don't know if I'd go quite that high, but he is the tight end 1 in Dynasty rankings, as he should be. I mean, what else is there to say about the guy besides, like, he's awesome, and you're not going to be able to buy him. So if you want to try and buy him, but yeah, what's your overall thoughts on Bowers? Like, is he just like, this is what you're expecting from him kind of year in and year out, or are we going to get Sam Laporta next year?
What if we get Kyle Pitts?
That's even worse. But
yeah. I mean, the only reason I throw that out there because the 1,000-yard rookie season for Pitts, 1 touchdown, and it's like, man, like this guy's going to be great forever, and he hasn't done shit since. And he did it on 40 less catches too. Granted, he had 100 less yards.
Yeah, I think that's why you buy in more into Brett Bowers, though. It's like the dude was just like hyper targeted. 144 targets is insane. If they get a better quarterback in there, it kind of worries me a little bit, actually. Like, I don't know if we're going to get this pure Brock Bowers volume. I don't know. Maybe we will, but we might get more touchdowns and that can make up for it. But I don't know. I don't know really what else is to say besides, like, the guy's awesome. And he's probably, I don't know. You can argue him and McBride. McBride is pretty damn impressive himself. But everyone's going to lean Bowers just because he did it year 1, right? So,
I think I'd still rather have McBride. We know who the quarterback's going to be, for better or for worse. Like, I know a lot of people are down on Kyler right now, but I think he'll be all right. Like, yeah, he had a down year, so no big deal. And he's on, the better offense. McBride is, so I don't know. I would still lean him. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against, like, oh, he's the number 1 guy, but there's still at least one guy I would take over him.
Yeah, but they're in the same tier. So it's like pick who you like, pick your flavor. By the way, it says 10 games in the stats. That was not in 10 games. That would be insane. That was a typo from a previous player. So, I think a lot of people are going to think, who else are you going to talk about in this draft class? Ben Sinnott is someone we're going to talk about just because he was drafted in the 2nd round. And I think people were pretty high on him and pretty excited. He did nothing. He had 5 targets, 5 catches, like literally nothing. Barely saw the field. In terms of receiving action, he started as the tight end 13. He's down to the tight end 20. Are we seeing the next Trey McBride here? And there's a lot of correlations here because the tight end in front of him was the one that kept Trey McBride on the bench for most of his rookie year, Zach Ertz. The head coach of the Cardinals, when McBride was on the bench his rookie year, was Cliff Kingsbury. He's the offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. So are we seeing the next Trey McBride here, or is it concerning that he literally did nothing on a team that kind of needed some pass catchers. I mean, he was playing a bit, but it was just very inconsistent. So next Trey McBride, or we should kind of hold our horses a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely hold your horses, like,
yeah.
I mean, no one's the next Trey McBride until they are, kind of thing. But no, I mean, that was going to be the 3 syllables that I said, where it's like, yeah, look at, like he in Senate was taken as what, the tight end 2 in the second
tight
round?
end 2, 53rd overall.
Yeah, and he had a lot of pre-draft hype, and so it was nice to see where he went. Zach Ertz is not going to be there, forever, but yeah, like I think Senate is definitely an interesting guy to go and trade for if you can, but I don't know if people are starting to wise up or not. As far as like, now these tight ends, you got to give a couple of years. No one does it in their first year until, basically last year happened. We had Pitts 4 years ago. We had Laporta and Kincaid. And am I missing someone from last year? Someone obvious? Or is it just them?
And Kincaid were the 2 big ones. It was pretty nice. Michael Mayer was drafted as well, but he didn't do a whole lot. So
yeah, well, Kincaid and Mayer was last year.
Yeah, it was Kincaid, Laporta, Mayer, and then Musgrave, and Kraft were also in that draft class.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think there's not a whole lot to say besides he's a solid hold or solid buy. I think, because depending on what you can get him for.
Which is
trade,
according to Keep Trade Cut, it's go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, would you trade a late second for him? It's like, I think I would. Like if it was the end of the second round, like you got rid of that rookie year, just for like you're shooting shots already at the end of the second round anyway. So
yeah, I feel like he was kind of already there in non-tight end premium league, so maybe not, but I do think like my thoughts on tight ends in general are just like most of them don't really matter, and like basically everyone beyond like starting from like Kyle Pitts onwards, like I'll trade them and get Ben Sinnott and another piece in return, and if it doesn't work out, I'll just find someone else that's going to give me like decent production. So the only pushback I'll have against people who are going to be, taking the Trey McBride approach, like, oh yeah, look at Trey McBride did the same thing. We did see Trey McBride at the end of his rookie year, like come on a little bit, and he had a 10 target, 7 catch, 78-yard, and 1 touchdown game. Whereas like we saw nothing from Sinnott. So, but yeah, I agree. I think he's kind of a buy low. Second, I definitely wouldn't give up a mid second, but maybe a late second. And
yeah, it just depends on who's there,
Yeah, a lot of running backs this year. Jatavian Sanders, I think we should spend a little bit of time on, because he was kind of talked about as like the number 2 tight end in the draft, like pre-draft process. It didn't work out that way. I believe he was the 4th. I'll double check that, but he did start to come on a little bit there. He had an injury that I remember seeing just on like I think it was through Red Zone, and it looked like bad, like season-ending, neck injury type of stuff. But he only missed like a game, I think. But he did, he was starting to come on a little bit before that injury. Like you just look at from like week 6, 5 for 49, 6 for 61 in week 7. 4 for 87 in week 9. Like he was starting to get some usage there. I don't know. Like again, I'll tear down from one of the top, not top, but one of the mid tight ends and pick up Jatavian Sanders if someone's willing to. I don't know how you're feeling about Sanders here. He's basically valued similar to Ben Sinnott here as like a late second, according to Keep Trade Cut, tight end 19.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like, I know you mentioned this before we started, but like, I mean, look at his snap shares. Did you mention that, like, in this video?
Sanders?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I didn't. I
sorry.
didn't mention.
Sorry, I was totally looking at. Oh, this is not good. I was looking at. I had Jason Sanders and Theo Johnson next to each other, and I was actually look. I was like, wait a second, something's wrong here. Yeah, I mean it. I like that they're like he could be part of Carolina's future. You know, with Bryce starting to play a little better. You know, not a whole lot of competition there as of now, but you know, this team's young, and so an interesting piece for sure.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how much it would change. Like if you put week 6, 7, 9, and 12 for Sanders into the last 4 weeks of the season, would we be way more excited about him? And I think we would, not way more, but we'd be more excited because he finished the season like bad. Like he had 4 catches basically when he came back from that injury in the last 5 weeks. So that's not great. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
I have to imagine he wasn't super injured. He was playing a decent amount.
Yeah, and that's when Bryce was playing better too. So yeah, I don't know. Like, definitely small sample size, like interesting moving forward. Like I think you just have to kind of like if you want some of these guys we're talking about, like now's a good time to try and buy low on them for that unsuspecting manager who I don't know who was drafting him to be like, oh, I'm plugging him right in, kind of a thing. I think a lot of people are going to be pretty patient in general. But that being said, there's plenty of guys in front of them. It's like you might as well just take those guys.
Yeah. Theo Johnson deserves to be talked about a little bit here. This guy was like breaking combine records as a tight end, just like super, super athletic, which I was always like intrigued on taking Theo Johnson for that reason, taking a chance on him. And he was playing a lot. I don't think people realize like Theo Johnson was like out there 90% of the time before up until like he got hurt for a lot of games. And he was coming on like from week 5 onwards, really. He was looking pretty good until he got hurt. It wasn't ACL, so monitor that. And but he's a tight end. He can probably come back from it a little bit easier. I'm kind of in on Theo Johnson. Like if they're going to use him like 90% of the time, he's going to get some usage. They're probably going to draft a quarterback, or there's a good chance they do. So it could be just a better offense overall. Yeah, I think he was pretty awesome. Like to see him get that kind of usage, and he's not valued he's valued way later than guys like Sinnott and Jatavian Sanders, a late third. I'll happily like tear down or throw a late third at someone and grab Theo Johnson and just kind of roll with him and sell off one of my, tight ends that are a little bit more coveted. So thoughts on Theo Johnson?
Yeah. So like I said, like I was looking at him next to Jason Sanders, the kicker, and his snap share kind of like that's who I was talking about when I was looking at Jatavian. But yeah, no, I think that's solid. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns here, in New York, but like you said, like he had a great combine. They like to use the tight end as a decent piece. He's never going to be like the number one guy, but I mean, he could easily be the number 2 guy there, So yeah, definitely an interesting buy, I think. Where did he? Let me see. Okay, wait. Oh no, yeah, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, he ended as the tight end 24.
Okay, so not a lot of movement, but that's kind of interesting. So you might have a hard time acquiring him for a later third, but I mean that's kind of where he was going.
If you look at the drop off value though, like Ben Sinnott, unless I got it wrong, tight end 20, a late second, 4 spots down is all the way to a late third. There's a huge drop off in value.
Sure.
In terms of like what the community is saying. So I just think he's
what
like,
do they know?
Yeah. It is a little bit of a deeper tight end class as well. That is something to note. With the running backs are ridiculously deep. There's like 15 guys, which we'll talk about in the running backs video for 2025. So could affect a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of interesting tight ends this year too. So and other guys like Tip Raymond. No, he's behind Dre McBride. I think he's a blocking guy. Eric All was starting to make a little bit of a impact there with the Bengals. I thought about making a little graphic here for him, but I didn't. He didn't really like put up big stats. He was starting to get used a little bit more. His issue is he can't stay healthy. That was his issue in college. He couldn't stay healthy, and then he tears his ACL. Like he played 10 games his last 2 seasons combined in college. So like he's gonna have to stay healthy, or he's gonna just fall by the wayside kind of. AJ Barner for the Seahawks did well with when Noah Fant was out. Cade Stover is CJ Stroud's buddy. Jared Wiley, interesting, another athletic tight end who the Chiefs took. So of those guys, Eric All, AJ Barner, Cade Stover, and Jared Wiley, like any interest, or if you had to choose one of those guys, again, Eric All for the Bengals, Barner for the Seahawks, Stover for the Texans, and Wiley for the Chiefs. All 4th round picks.
Yeah. I think I like the idea of Eric All, like he got to play a little bit. It's a shame that, he couldn't stay healthy. So that could be his downfall, but I mean, none of these guys are very expensive in general. Gesicki was on a 1-year deal. They can't afford to really pay, not that they even really paid Gesicki. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I think that he could have an opportunity, like you said, if health permitting. And, even if he doesn't do anything, it's like you're not really missing out on a whole lot anyway. So I don't mind that. Remind me the Chiefs guy again.
Jared Wiley.
Didn't
do any.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he did anything this year, but
no,
he was kind of another athletic guy. And he's on the Chiefs.
Yeah, but I mean, in the off season, they paid Noah Gray, right?
And Noah Gray
renewed,
played well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the way I look at it is he's behind both those guys. Kelsey, who could be his last few games coming here soon, but we won't know that for another month. So I don't know. I don't have any interest there. Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in AJ Barner for the Seahawks. If Noah Fant's not there, I think he's a sneaky, like, watch what Seattle does. Just because he flashed, like he had a couple games there when Noah Fant was out. Barner, he had some good target games, never really good production, but he had three straight weeks there when Fant was out, 7-4 targets. This last week he had 5, so he's kind of interesting. But yeah, these are all kind of dart throws. So it is what it is. Devin Culp for the Buccaneers. But yeah, I think that's it for tight ends. Much better class coming in, so be ready for that. A lot of interesting guys. Probably 2 first-round picks. We have a guy who led the entire FBS Division I football and receptions and yards, which was insane. But yeah, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We're on the road. We're 41 away now. So at the time of recording, so help us get there. If you like the content, we'll be back talking about some running backs and wide receivers. So we can catch you all in that video.